This is already a mistake specifically related to the development of social networks. When you open YouTube and see someone making a 20% return on capital, like $200,000, you think, that's exactly what suits me. And from morning till night, you sit there with your capital of $150, looking for some unclear deal where you'll put in your entire amount, try to make 10%, and then complain that you can't make money from trading. You need to understand one simple thing. Trading with $100 and trading with $100,000 or $1 million in capital are completely different things. In order to be as productive as possible, especially in the early stages of your trading, you should never try to imitate others. In Armenia, we have an interesting saying. I'll try to translate it literally now. We say, if a chicken tries to watch a goose and lay an egg like it, its backside will tear apart. I don't know how to translate it literally, but it really closely resembles this situation. You absolutely must not imitate those who have already made it. So take your $100, $150 and look for situations where you can use that capital as efficiently as possible. This is by no means about making just one trade. Make at least 100 trades a day. If you don't do this, you have no future in scalping. The next point applies to both beginners and experienced traders. I talk a lot with traders who have been in this as long as I have, 10 plus years. And I've noticed that this mistake shows up in both the younger and older generations, though in different ways. For the younger generation, it happens like this. They come in, they join some group, a friend invites them to trade pumps on MEX, and for half a year they trade successfully. Then comes a time when MEX starts blocking accounts or, the topic ends, the group falls apart. But people keep staying in love with that platform and can't see beyond their own noses. And this inevitably leads to losses, inevitably to the person leaving trading altogether. That's why it's so important to start adapting. Beginners make this mistake very often, and so do experienced traders. There are actually a lot of guys who have been trading since 2014 or 2015. They don't acknowledge anything except Binance. They sit there from morning till night struggling with Binance, saying there are no opportunities, there are no opportunities. Meanwhile, beginners are making tens of thousands on other decent exchanges. So this is a problem for everyone, for all generations. So let's agree on this. I usually say, guys, take 20% of your earnings, of your earned capital, and invest it in your education. Did you make $10,000 in a month? You take $2,000, fund other platforms, and try to get things going there. To survive over a 10-year span, it's impossible to just trade one setup, one topic, one strategy. You need to learn how to look for new topics, find good entry points, and seek out new opportunities. Seventh, this is a practice that's become quite common, especially with the younger generation. People don't like to plan their future. I've even seen statements saying that predicting the future is a source of new stress. No one wants to, not to predict, but to plan the future, because it's a source of new stress. And there's an analogy that clearly shows where this strategy leads. It's the hippie culture of the 1960s and 70s in America. I see a lot of parallels with that. And yes, it is certainly true that, of course, you can endlessly smoke marijuana, have sexual relations, and not shave your underarms. But even then, among your group, there will always be people who will plan ahead for the future. Not live just for today. By the way, I was talking about the bad things. And among this endless non-planning, there will be one person who will plan, who will build a normal future for themselves. And that's how capitalism works. Over time, it will survive anyway. Because what do we see with the hippie culture in America? Because of the worthlessness, illness, and poverty of its founders, that movement closed down very quickly. I want you to learn how to plan. Guys, planning by no means that you have to lay everything out point by point. There's a wonderful saying, those who don't plan for victory are planning for defeat. Learn to at least see your future in broad strokes. Learn to spend that $1 million in your mind, the one you'll eventually earn from trading. There's no way around it. Of course, from the outside, it might look like you're talking big, and I do that too. You can say it, like, we'll earn it first, then we'll see. No, guys, I've seen plenty of people who became millionaires in a single day or week, but after that, they couldn't do anything with that money. And now that money simply doesn't exist anymore. That's why I'm asking you, learn to plan. And finally, one more thing, also related to the rise of social networks, the growth of various media, bloggers, and influencers. It's the total devaluation of oneself and one's achievements. It so happens that we compare ourselves to all sorts of Instagram stars, Telegram stars, and compared to their results, you might look and think, well, I earned $10,000 in a month. But over there, someone made 200,000 from a single deal. And as a result, people get hit really hard by FOMO. And because of this FOMO, people often go on tilt and lose everything. And they don't know how to appreciate what they have. I assure you, if you're earning at least a few $1,000s, 3, 4, or more, you have a great circle of people around you, good friends, you know how to build strong relationships, then you are more successful than 99% of Telegram and Instagram bloggers. That's why learning to appreciate what you have, yourself, your circle, your friends, your family, is a skill you need to develop within yourself. No one benefits from you doing this. No one is going to do it for you. You have to take charge of your own life and make it better yourself.